Hello, my name is Lauren Evans. I will be discussing some JavaScript concepts, which include imperative programming, scope, and side effects. Imperative programming in JavaScript basically means that you are giving your code specific instructions to tell the computer how to specifically perform the action step by step, which you would like it to. You change the data directly by modifying data and structures in place, and you control the flow by using loops and conditional statements to determine what happens next with your code. Some pros would be the control of the flow of the program. It allows more efficiency because it avoids overhead of functions and cost of abstractions. It's familiar to most developers because the language is mostly used as JavaScript. Some of the negative things about imperative is that it can be hard to read because of the complexity, and it's temperamental, meaning that you can change one part of the code and it will also change other parts of the code. It often relies on side effects, which can also be a little bit temperamental as well because it can lead to bugs and unexpected behavior. And also managing the state of imperative can be tedious as it uses multiple parts of the code in order to modify the same data. In contrast, declarative in JavaScript program focuses on what you want, not how you get, how you're going to do what you want to do in the code. It uses higher order functions like map, filter, and reduce. It avoids mutations and focuses on users to program and data transformation. So to discuss scope, it is explained as it's used to create a visibility and lifetime in your variable in your code. Basically, it controls where variables live and who gets access to them. There are several different types of scopes. One is global. The variables can be accessed from anywhere in the code. The next one is local. It can be accessed within the function or a block in the code. And then lastly, the block. The variables can be declared with let or const or sets of braces like loops or conditions. In my opinion, it's best practice to use scope management by limiting the use of different scopes for variables. It's recommended to use local scope over other scopes. Using scope management also allows for a cleaner code and avoids bugs. Now, the module scope is a self-contained unit of codes that can be imported or exported. They help manage scope by allowing users to define variables and functions that are accessible within the module. Side effects happen when a function modifies some state outside of its own scope or has an observable interaction with the outside world. Some examples include a function that modifies a variable outside of its scope, a function that modifies a variable that modifies an object passes an argument. It interacts with the browser or operating system, makes API calls or database queries, writes to files, or logs to the console. An example of this from a previous lesson would be modifying the state of DOM by changing the text or the HTML element. We did this when, for me, an example would be when I modified the text of my favorite hiking site. Side effects do come with some downfalls. Despite them being necessary, they are unpredictable. They make it hard to predict outcomes. Debugging can be difficult to the user because it has to track down places where the state is modified. To reduce the negative impact of side effects, users can use local variables, avoid sharing states between parts of their code, minimizing global states, When using a shared state, manage it in a single place instead of using different functions, ensuring that the code is clean and clear. To conclude, the snippet given shows that the global scope and the following side effects are present. 1. The logging to the console. 2. Updating the DOM. And 3. Modifying the global state. One can improve this by encapsulating the state within an object. Thank you.